Hello. In this video, we'll discuss how to add value in your sociology answers. So, without losing much time, let's take the first question. So, let's see the question. Highlight the importance of developing a sociological perspective in public life with illustrations. So, what is the assumption behind this question? So, the assumption is developing a sociological perspective is important. It is important. So, in this answer, when you attempt this question, it is advisable not to write the issues or critical angle of developing a sociological perspective, right? So let's find the keywords. Highlight the importance of developing a sociological perspective in personal and public life. What is the importance of developing a sociological perspective? So many candidates will start this answer by defining the term sociological perspective, which is not bad. You can always start, but a still better answer would be setting the context of this answer. So why is sociological perspective important, right? So if you can begin your answer with this line: we are not just individuals, but we are social beings deeply enmeshed in society. So because we are a part of society, developing sociological perspective is important. So we are not standalone entities. We are actually enmeshed in society. So that means society has an profound influence on us. So that is why sociological perspective is important. So because we are enmeshed in societies and we are social beings, we have a social background, and this social background influences our attitude, thoughts, beliefs. So in a way, it inclines it towards a particular way of thought. So developing a sociological perspective helps adopt a balanced approach. So that is how you can start this answer. Then you can deliberate upon the different sociological perspectives: conflict perspective, interactionist, and functionalist perspective. And we will now discuss how developing this perspective helps in bringing about social change. So if you don't have a sociological perspective, then your actions and beliefs and overall worldview is guided by the existing values and norms, religion, common sense, etc. So and these might be status quoist in nature. So and if you develop a sociological perspective, the ability to have a comprehensive view of any social phenomena, then it will help you figure out the dysfunctions, and once you know the dysfunctions, you will think of ways to bring about social change. So that is one important way in which sociological perspective is important. For example, earlier poverty was explained through commonsensical knowledge, and there were not much efforts made to address this problem. But after the development of sociology, and consequently when people started having a sociological perspective, then poverty came to be seen as a social problem, and both institutional and non-institutional measures were taken to address this problem. So there are many other points which could be written in this answer, but we have not touched upon that. We have only touched upon the value addition aspects that will help you score at least 1 to 2 extra mark in this question. Just imagine the amount of difference it will make if you are able to get even 1 extra mark in an answer. That is 19 extra mark in one paper and 38 extra mark in sociology as a whole. So those candidates who have written mains already, they would better appreciate the importance of every single mark. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. How can the problem of infanticide be addressed through sociological imagination? So let's take a look at this diagram first. This is the underlying concept behind sociological imagination. So society and individual both are intricately related to each other. So we should neither focus completely on individuals nor completely on society, but we should take both society and individuals into account whenever we are dealing with any social phenomena. So why I am trying to use these terms is please incorporate it in your answers. So it should not be the vocabulary and the language, the touch and tone of it should be sociological. It should not be GS like in both paper 1 and paper 2 of sociology. So let's see what sociological imagination is. In simple terms, sociological imagination is the ability to connect personal challenges to the larger social issue. So let's take an example. So not having a home, all right, is a personal problem for an individual or a family. But at the same time, if a good fraction of the population is not having a home, it is also a social problem or a public issue. So this is where sociological imagination comes into picture. It links a personal problem to a larger public issue. So that is sociological imagination. So that is what we have tried to highlight it here. It brings a balance between systems and the individual. System means society in general, and that is why C.W. Mills, who is considered the father of sociological imagination, held the view that to completely understand the history and individual, we should study both. So if we study either of them in silos, we won't get a complete picture. Now, how to relate it with infanticide? So mention the causes of infanticide. Okay, and once you have mentioned the causes, relate it to the larger social issue, the historical concept or the historical context of it, the personal problems because of which this social evil happens, and then try to link how this personal is related to the public issue, because infanticide is a larger public issue. It is not merely limited to individual level. So, and that is where sociological imagination comes into picture. So that is one thing, and what I am going to discuss now is extremely important. Let's read this. Lacking in sociological imagination, we are vulnerable to apathy. Accepting beliefs, actions and traditions around us are natural and avoidable. So infanticide also happens due to acute apathy towards the rights of a newly born child, right? And because sociological imagination is limited or is absent, people are guided by beliefs, actions, and traditions. There are certain superstitions and taboos related to different aspects of social life, because of which this heinous crime happens. And for example, you might have heard that in olden days, during any infrastructure project, suppose there is some issue with the pillars of a bridge, then they used to sacrifice. So that is human sacrifice, a little different. The point I'm trying to highlight is, because sociological imagination is absent, people end up believing in these traditions and superstitions. So if you have sociological imagination, it will help you better identify and question the various aspects of society, and the individuals can make smarter personal choices. So sociological imagination will help you question the logic behind infanticide, and I am sure when there is no rational logic, it will lead to a durable solution to address this issue. So again, in this question you can conclude by highlighting the measures that the government, civil society is taking to address this issue. Okay, so wherever you find something important in this video, please pause it and watch it, because we are trying to cover those aspects that can help you score extra marks in your answers. Let's move on to the next question. So this is let's read the question first. Explain the concepts of in-groups and out-groups with emphasis on the relative nature. So this is extremely important. Again, this question is something which looks very straightforward, but the issue with these straightforward questions is it is easy to score a certain threshold marks, that is around 40 to 50%, but it is not so easy to score outstanding marks, that is 60 to 70% of the mark awarded to that question. So in this question, it is a 20 marker. If you want to score somewhere around 14 marks, you would need to emphasize on the relative nature of these terms. So how are these terms relative? So you see this diagram here. It shows the overlapping nature of in-group and out-group. So suppose this is the out-group, and this individual experiences upward social mobility. So use these terms in your answer, and also try to relate it to different syllabus topics. So social mobility is explicitly mentioned in your stratification topic, and this is a generic sociological concept. So this is what I mean by horizontal linkage. So suppose this individual becomes upward mobile because of government affirmative action, say reservation or scholarship. So and it will become a part of this group now because of upward mobility, and this group was earlier an out group for this individual. So it will now become an in group. So it is an example of the relative nature of in group or out group. Similarly, if this individual experiences a downward social mobility, say because of loss of job due to pandemic, then it will become a member of this group. So This group in blue was an out group for this individual, and which has now become an in group. So that is why the concepts of out group and in groups are fluid in nature, and they are not static and watertight compartments as such. So another important thing is, please make a note of the standard definition of terms like social groups, reference groups, in group and out group, all these terms. So because they will be extremely useful across your syllabus topics of both paper 1 and paper 2. So we have a table here. You can ignore this part. You can read this part very quickly and incorporate important points in your answer, but do go through this part. It is important, and use these terms in your answer. In group favoritism, you know, right? The cases of nepotism and all, they are examples of in group favoritism. Out group derogation, out group homogeneity effect, in group homogeneity effect. Use these terms in your answers. That is why we have explicitly incorporated this table. So coming to another example, social mobility part we have already discussed, and I'll just try to revisit again. Suppose because of some reason this is the dividing line between these two groups. It is 1 and it is 2, right? And this dividing line is invisible, right? Because it divides a social group. So maybe because of some external or inherent feature, this group, this dividing line shifts here. So these members were earlier in group, but now for these members they are the in group, and these members will become a part of out group. So and the nature and the reason of shift could be government action or invisible market forces, social movement, right? For example, social movement by Dalits demanding for temple entry, or demanding to be priests in the temple. So they are very evident examples of in group and out group. So this is an example of how social movement or social revolution may also lead to the dynamic nature of in groups and out groups. I hope you are able to think along multiple directions and correlate different topics, the different syllabus topics, when you are attempting a particular answer. So if you have any query, feel free to discuss with us. All queries are always welcome. Thank you so much.